unbelievable, where they say that, well, the aristocracy in Japan or England, they've always thought that they were a different breed, a different cut above. But they believe that through selective breeding, that they are already another species, and that they believe with genetic engineering that they are going to separate fully to where we can't even mate Homo sapien from some type of Homo sapien super sapien. Remember last year the BBC had the big headline where top scientists showed this little dwarf pig-like creature next to this beautiful, wonderful creature. But the truth is the Darwins, the Wedgwoods, the Huxleys, the Galton, the father of eugenics, they interbred for 4 generations, and by the end of it, almost all their babies were dying at birth, and the few that lived were basically mentally insane. So that's your Superman right there. But unfortunately, these are the families that run and govern our planet today, and the elites. I mean, the Queen of England and others loved buying into that, we're the super race, we're all intermarried, and so that's why they love it.
Let's go. First-time caller line. You're on the air. Hi there.
Hey, George.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hey, yeah, it's Jay here. I'm in Florida, in Tampa. And, basically, I'm really happy that I get to talk to Alex Jones my first time on here because he's become my new hero. And I started studying on the Illuminati. I heard about them first in the early 90s, and a friend of mine said, hey, well, I've got a book you should read. And he says, but don't tell anybody it came from me. And it was that book that Playboy guy wrote, the Illuminati Trilogy, where it talks about the justified ancients of Mu, and it's the big conspiracy book. And then I started looking more into it and more into the real Illuminati. And basically I found out a lot, but it was nothing really there that I could see that was, real. And
yeah, to be clear, I came to all this from the scholarly history side. I had never read the Illuminati trilogy. I had never read kind of the occultic side of it until I was about to sneak into Bohemian Grove 8 years ago in 2000. I had done the kind of the mainline Ron Paul, Federal Reserve's private. We've got a corrupt oligarchy running things. We need to keep the Second Amendment. And I even hesitated to get off into all of that, but it is true. At the end of the day, when you research the global elite, they are doing this for religious reasons. And they believe that anything they do, good or bad, is of God, or they tell us to be atheists. They tell us that they don't believe in God and that believing in God is bad. But in truth, a lot of these atheists are actually secret occultists, crypto occultists, and they don't want you knowing about the religious side, or the spiritual side, I should say. The religious side blocks it all out. It's like they don't want you conscious of this entire realm. George?
You got to send Ted Turner the movie Soylent Green and see if he endorses that.
Yeah, where their Soylent Green is made out of people. Well, that's the type of future he's talking about. I mean, he's talking about cannibalism. That's just institutionalized cannibalism right there.
Wafers. Wild card line. Hello, Fred in Michigan. Go for it.
Okay, George. Alex is in good company because Ziggy Stardust Brzezinski, Between Two Ages, wrote all about what Alex is describing tonight. And
Barack Obama's advisors, a big new Brzezinski, admits all this.
Yes, he could be back. Brzezinski could be back.
No, Trilateral Commission, and their symbol is an upside-down separated cross, and on those three sides is 666.
Yep.
Trilateral Commission.
Plain view, yep.
Okay, and then... Jacques Cousteau.
Jacques Cousteau said it's terrible to say that we should kill 350,000 people a day, but it's even more terrible not to say it.
Yeah, and let's see now, Alex. I just want. Tom Horn obviously corroborates everything you're saying about genetic engineering, etc. Well, George and Alex. I used to be a precinct delegate in the Republican Party until I realized it was just a good old boys fraternity of collusion. So I see in a republic, the real people, us, have got to organize our own grassroots think tanks, and I don't know, maybe convene.
We need a George Norrie, Ron Paul ticket for president.
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, in lieu of that, I'm just admonishing the audience to get out and organize in their neighborhoods, their own little think tank groups, and use Alex Jones et al. as the nucleus of the organizing, and then force the public serpents to come back and hold town hall meetings like they should be doing.
Well, George, I agree with the caller that even if we don't have all the answers, even if we don't do a perfect job, that doesn't matter. Getting out of our paralysis, this elite is like a spider that's built this societal web of entertainment and all the rest of it. They get us caught in it, then they come in and inject their poison, their fluoride, their mercury, their this culture stuff that they dump on us, this poison, and then they basically suck us dry by getting moving, by getting out of this paralysis, by just thinking outside the box, by just questioning and saying, I don't have all the answers. I want to learn more. It is that exercise that will create a new renaissance that will defeat the darkness and bring in, what your last name means, the light, working in the light, being good, being loving, coming together, waking people up. That is the answer. You don't have to be perfect, folks. Just work together, ask God for guidance, and together we can defeat this darkness. But if we keep denying, the devil's biggest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. If we keep denying that these people are devils, that they're doing devilish stuff, and that they're so selfish they want to get rid of us so they can have the world for themselves, and so they can have the life extension technologies for themselves that are already here, that they don't want us to have access to. That's one of the big reasons they want to set up a police state to orderly kill the majority of us. And that includes you too, police. They plan to kill you as well.
Alex, I want to get your reaction to this, not on the Iraq War, but on the statement by Vice President Dick Cheney when asked 2 weeks ago on a talk show, the majority of Americans don't want us in Iraq. His answer simply was, so?
Yeah, he said, so what? Well, my answer to that is another statement by Karl Rove. Remember 5 years ago, or about 4.5 years ago, he told the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others at a D.C. cocktail party, they said to Karl Rove, they said, hey, this is hurting people. The war's just started. It's going to go on for years. The people don't want it. And Karl Rove said, listen, none of you count. We control reality. We'll change reality next week, and then you'll report on that new reality.
Jeez.
We are history's actors. Just type in Karl Rove's quote, history's actors, into Google, and that's the same thing with Hillary, Barack Obama, Bush, all of them. The globalists own these people. They're puppets. If they didn't follow orders, they'd end up like Kennedy or Bobby Kennedy, now admitted, even BBC admits the CIA killed him. I mean, we're seeing all of this come to fruition. And so there's Dick Cheney saying, I don't care what 70, 80% of the people want. I just don't care. And, of course, he's already bought a house in Dubai. Halliburton, with his no-bid contracts, has moved to Dubai. They're selling America out.
One at a time. Let's go to you, AJ. You're on the air with us. Go ahead.
Yes, great show. My question to you is twofold. Number one, how much time do you think we have before we reach that point of no return where they're going to have a complete lock on the system? And number two, would you not say that the Almighty Creator and the power of the universe, the true power, Almighty God himself and his Son Jesus Christ, wouldn't you say that is the source for turning this around if enough of us believe and pray and start giving our lives to him? Because I think things are pretty far gone, and I don't think there's a lot of time left.
Well, let me just say this. I am a Christian, but don't confuse that with what we see in these big mega churches and the pro-war churches or the fake liberal churches. The establishment religion is, in my opinion, poison. And so, tell people, run off, to the establishment churches. That, just like in China, that's been bought off and controlled by the architects, by the New World Order. I think we need to just, like the earlier caller was saying, set up little think tanks in our own neighborhoods, stand up against evil, have courage. I mean, you say, how much time do we have? There's still a lot of good in the world. And the more good people wake up to what's happening and stand up and speak out, the less chance the elite have to go ahead with their plans. Listen, if we wouldn't have exposed globalist-sponsored terror, elite-sponsored terror, or provocateur terror, they would have already staged more events than had us in World War III. If we wouldn't have day one exposed problem, reaction, solution, and if you wouldn't have spread the word out there, and if George wouldn't have had the courage, we would already be in much worse straits today. So there's an awakening happening. I have a lot of positive attitudes about what's going on, and I